Imagine a blank document on your computer screen. The cursor blinks mockingly as you confront the task of writing a play to be performed in front of an audience in less than 24 hours. This scenario might sound like a nightmare to many, a pressure to create something performance-ready within a seemingly impossible deadline. But what if I told you that this scenario is an event my peers and I look forward to at my school? Today, I want to share how, through my experience with arts education, I've embraced the idea of daring to suck, focusing on the creative process over the end result. This approach leads to meaningful outcomes and transforms fear into a tool for creative expression. It was in my singer-songwriter class when I first learned the phrase, dare to suck. This is advice that aligns with all forms of arts education. As a student in the arts, a lesson I wish to share is to simply create what you want to create and don't let fear stand in your way. You have an idea for a comic, but worry you're the only one who'd find it funny. Dare to suck. You have a desire to choreograph a dance, but fear you haven't mastered the technique. Dare to suck. You want to write a play, but can't picture it being performed. Dare to suck. Where there is a desire to create, there is endless potential, but only if we allow ourselves to explore every possibility. The only limits are the ones we put on ourselves. Be the person who's not afraid to make mistakes, not the one that's too afraid to try. Look, I know sharing your ideas can be vulnerable. Your ideas are a reflection of you and what you bring to the table. If what you said isn't received well, you can begin to doubt your capabilities, maybe even your worth. But this is not a helpful mindset. If you tie your value to your first ideas, then how do you ever expect to grow? There is so much freedom in creation. It's meant to be liberating and fun, but so many times we rob ourselves of potential by believing every idea has to be perfect. There is so much power in daring to suck, though I realize this is easier said than done. Well, I have been fortunate enough to have the amazing opportunity to practice this concept, a unique, transformative, explosive experience my art school provides. Blast is a school-wide event that features our 4 studios: dance, music, visual arts, and performance. The challenge? Create a complete artwork under a set of certain parameters in just 24 hours. Talk about daring to suck. As a writer for the theater studio, I receive our cast of performers the night before the performances and stay up all night to write this play. In all honesty, 24 hours is not a reasonable amount of time to create something performance standard. Blast accepts this fact in its entirety. It's the whole point. It's supposed to be a challenge that either gives students a safe space to fail or an opportunity to succeed against all odds. Both experiences are extremely valuable. Completing my Blast play that night was a whirlwind experience. There were several times where I wanted nothing more than to just scrap the whole thing and start over. But racing against an ever-approaching deadline, I had to persevere. Handing in my play that morning, I was bracing for the worst of reactions. What if my director hated it? What if the actors despised me for having to perform a horrible play? But the deadline hit, and I had to set aside my doubts and hand it over to my fellow collaborators. Seeing my work come to life that evening made me realize it was better than I had expected. Sharing my work within the supportive walls of my school allowed me to appreciate its value. Now, was it perfect? Absolutely not. Not even close. But I had created something with meaning and intent. I had seen it performed and now could continue to revise, given my new perspective. The culture at my school during Blast is something I wish everyone could experience. A building full of people striving to succeed, yet unafraid to fail. is the perfect breeding ground for authentic, productive, and humble learners, attributes that apply to all facets of life. The idea of daring to suck is integrated into the very fiber of BLAST. It gives students an excuse to realize their creative potential no matter the outcome, an opportunity to learn that you have to suck in order to be good. My experience with BLAST is not the only way I've practiced embracing imperfection, though. I was lucky enough to go on a school trip for my AP art class last year. Various artists spoke on the art of spontaneity and how their favorite pieces often come from working in the moment and trusting the process rather than meticulously planning every detail. The concept of artistic spontaneity became even clearer when I joined my school's improv team. If you think there's a way to be perfect at improv, then you are sorely mistaken. Improv is the farthest thing from anything even remotely perfect, but that's the very reason people appreciate it. My experience on the improv team demonstrated that arts education isn't just about creating beautiful things. It's about developing innovative, resilient thinkers who can adapt and grow from their experiences. Also, it's fun. The very reason I love the arts and am pursuing arts education is because I enjoy it, even when I suck at it. Could you imagine an atmosphere where everyone felt free to fail openly? Could you imagine the shift in students' perspectives if they felt they could try anything with full support and understanding? Imagine people wearing Dare to Suck t-shirts, going around giving others high fives, even for their shortcomings. Because if you can imagine it, then you can create it, even if it doesn't happen on the first attempt. Be brave. Dare to suck. Thank you.